Well, as we've been reporting, there could be a lot more turmoil in the markets tomorrow because two of the nation's biggest banks report first quarter earnings. We're talking about Wells Fargo and Morgan Chase. Kayla Tausche joins us now with a preview of those closely watched earnings releases and what investors will be looking for in the numbers. You know, Kayla, when people look at banks, they're always thinking about mortgage fees, loans, trading revenues. Are these going to be the drivers of bank earnings or something else?
They will. And Susie, there's a little bit of something for everyone. There's a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. The good thing is banks are ultimately barometers of the underlying economy, and the economy is getting better. Credit is improving. Loans are growing, albeit slightly. Consumer spending is up slightly, but trading revenues are expected to be negative. Unfortunately, the weather hurt the banks as well as the retailers. They are not immune from this. A lot of people were not trading during those harsh winter storms that happened all throughout the quarter. Nomura says that alone could drive revenues down 10% at some of these big institutions that have very active investment banks.
How much are some of the legal settlements going to affect the earnings, or has that wave crested?
You know, Tyler, it feels like we're in the eye of the storm here. We're not in the worst of it on either side. It seems like we're just in this very awkward, quiet period. We have had a couple of scandals erupt, but we haven't seen the end of those. So, for instance, fraud in Citi's Mexican unit, that was news that broke this quarter. A lot of banks are also being investigated for foreign exchange and interest rate rigging still. We haven't seen those settlements come to pass. Now, we do have the bulk of them behind us. A lot of settlements from Bank of America on the mortgage front. They had a big settlement with the FHFA and with some of their private investors. And then we also had JP Morgan's well behind us. So you're not going to see some of these giant blockbuster fees paid, but this isn't the end of it, certainly from the legal front.
All right, so you mentioned a couple of banks. You know, when you sort through all of it, which ones are expected to report solid results? Which one won't be? You know, what are you hearing from the people you're talking to?
Unfortunately, Susie, no one really thinks this is going to be a blockbuster quarter. They have raised estimates for Wells Fargo for the year, thinking that more home buying and rising interest rates will help Wells Fargo. Citigroup is one that, on the downside, people are still not willing to say is a buy just yet because of all of the issues plaguing Citigroup.
Kayla, thanks very much. Kayla Tausche reporting for us tonight.